All right. Hey Mom, Buck here. So we're doing part 11 of Control, and I actually teleported us already, because I didn't want to make you wait through the load screen, over to parapsychology, which is where we have this giant brain statue, which is honestly quite cool. It's a giant diagram of a brain all sliced up. I don't know, it always makes me smile. But if you look at it from near on, you're just like, that's a brain, and then you get to the side of it and you're like, no, it's a sliced up brain. Depth perception. Anyway, the reason I brought us here is because, I don't know if you remember, but over here, oh, hello. We're going to fight these guys first. Over here was a room that we could not get into before. And now we can get into it. And this guy is probably going to fuck my day up. I can just feel it. Hey, buddy. I switched to the wrong gun, too, which doesn't have anything. I really hate those grenade launcher types. Oh, cool. And now we have a vortexy ball to give everybody extra health. Well, we are dealing with you first, my dear. Just unload into that guy. And then see if we can take out some of these guys real quick to get some health back. Oh, and floaty dudes. My second least favorite characters in the game. They actually don't have that much health. Okay, so that was fun. That was a fun little diversion. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you show up someplace and you just have to kill some motherfuckers, and that's fine. Some motherfuckers need killing. Another grenade launcher, dude? So the reason that I'm probably getting so many of these types of enemies is actually because this next section is going to have a superpower that's very useful to me. So the game is like, hey, you know, maybe we should make it a little bit difficult for her to get that. Maybe we should make it feel like it's a challenge. Because otherwise, I would just show up and have to do some fucking astral realm stuff, and it'd be over. Alright, everybody dead? Everybody dead. Thank you! So we're going back here. Previously, we came into this room, I believe we came into this room, and these guys are just staring at this projector light box. And they're actually, I don't think they're hiss infected. I'm not seeing a lot of, like, red-yellow glow around them like you normally see. They're friendlies. But I think that just means they're not going to attack me because they're all distracted by the hiss light box. But these could be FBC agents that actually never got taken over by the hiss. They just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Which is interesting because you don't see a lot of this. Oh no, he is messed up. He looks all sorts of terrifying. Well, so, okay, so maybe they were infected by the hiss. So, we get to this, I like that he has an idle animation of his gun moving a little. He's just staring at it. We get to this, and there's an X-ray light box in this room. And the door helpfully says, locked, controlled, remotely. Well, okay, let's find some place where the lock is controlled. Let's see, what do we have here? We have a box here. Let's go ahead and get that item, whatever it is. Spin rate of fire boost. Nice. And the lock itself is over here. And I feel like the last time I was in here, you couldn't interact with this. So we need to figure out how to unlock it. Now let's see. There should be a hint somewhere, somehow. I just don't remember what the hint is. I might be crazy. I might have to wait to get the hint. See, it says that there's like, it's locked. That's blank. Let's try. So this one was here. I remember thinking this could be it. So full sides and then the top very full all the way down. Okay, let's try that. So we're going to try to get all the sides filled up once. There we go. That was it. Easy enough. Okay. It was that icon. And like I said, I'm not so good at those, but sometimes they try to make them easy. It's the 3 dimensions as opposed to 4 dimension thing that's very strange to me. So here we do have an audio cassette. So let's listen to this.
Please state your name for the record. Paul Warren, astronaut, first class.
And you are aware that exposure to the astral plane can result in death, disability, personal injury, corporeal untangling, cognitive collapse, loss of ego, and partial to full dementia?
Yeah. I am.
And you acknowledge that your use of the astral conduit, aka the X-ray light box, is purely voluntary?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. Your suit is good?
Yeah.
Okay, you're all set. Open the door for Mr. Warren, please.
Okay, so it's a dangerous, weird item. Like I said, some of these notes that you read aren't really to tell you, like, they don't convey direct data, they just tell you something about the universe. So it tells you that this X-ray light box is bad goddamn news. Let's touch it. So let's see where this takes us. I mean, it's going to take us to the astral plane. Use Seize to complete the astral plane challenge. This is one of my favorite abilities. It is easy mode, honestly. It makes the game so much simpler. So I am going to find some enemy. Oh, I don't think I can do damage to the golden copy. Let's find out. Maybe I can. Nope, looks like I can't. Okay, so I can't do damage to him directly, right? So what am I to do about the situation? Well, he can do damage to him, and I can telepathically control him to get him to do that. So literally, the Seize ability is a ability that you can use on low-level enemies. You have to do enough damage that they have the option to be seized, and then once you see that square option light up, you're going to be able to mind control them and have them deal damage to an enemy for you. So, classic, I can't do damage to gold enemies in this game. I don't need to be able to do damage to the gold enemies. Now, eventually, I do lose the seizure effect. I think it's time-based. There might also be an element of how much damage has been done to them. I can't recall all the details on that. But eventually, you do lose the ability to seize them. Or they can die. One of the two. Maybe one of them just died, and that wasn't even my guy anyway. Regardless, since I can't actually do damage to the golden copy variant, can't I? Should do damage. Whoa, hey. I'm gonna need some help here. Where is the dude that's fucking my day up? Oh, he's over there. Fuck your buddy's day up instead. And distract him enough that I can get this health. Woo! Oh, yeah. Alright, so everybody took him down before I even need to really work on it. Saying the X-ray light box is now bound/verified. So now I can get out of here, and from now on I can use that as an option to get rid of enemies, to make them work on my side, and that makes my life so much better.
Their brains were fried when I took over the object.
Yeah, their brains were fried as shit. Shouldn't have been in here. Sucks to be them. So, this is actually one of the annoying places in the game. It bothers me. You can see that there is a doorway back there, and you can kind of see that, like, there's nothing over there to get to. It just leads to the fire break. I want to know what the hell's back there, and you never get to open up this area. It's always this fucked up Jenga of fucking rocks. I don't think there's a way back there that I'm aware of. And there's a lot of secret spaces, and I don't know all of them by any measure, but that one's not one I know how to get to. So now we can use that, and of course, immediately, let's use it on some of these guys. Well, okay. See, the problem here is that sometimes I kill them, and I don't mean to. Sometimes they're just, they're so weak. It's like a 3-shot kill, and I forget that I'm trying to seize them. See, that keeps happening. Let's try. Nope. See, it's not my fault. They're just so weak. It's just, come on. Oh, okay. Wait, square. Nope, it's gone. I waited too long. Well, let's throw you at your buddy. Oh, I think that was that for them. Okay, well, I'll use Seize later at a more useful time. There's also an area over here that is not, I don't think, a secret area. I just didn't end up going in here the first couple times I checked out this area. It is full of isolation chambers. This is I think it's part of the DLC section. You don't actually get to do anything in here in the regular gameplay. In the DLC, there is a kind of fake mission where you get into an isolation tank and you end up listening to a guided meditation, which is sort of funny and entertaining. The guided meditation is by a famous games designer who lent his voice to this, Hideo Kojima, who does a lot of other video games. And that is spoilery as heck, so, I mean, you shouldn't be watching this playthrough if you weren't expecting spoilers. Here's the only message we get: sensory tank purpose. And so, this is a note. Darling here. Some of you were curious as to why I had these sensory deprivation tanks installed. I thought I'd shed some light on the subject. Maybe some of you have heard of a Dr. Yoshimi Tokui, I'm probably mispronouncing that, the man behind the hugely popular guided imagery experience tapes. Apparently his tapes go beyond the normal meditative qualities of such things, but create genuine hallucinatory visions in some listeners, or so the reports say. We brought these tanks in to test Dr. Takui's tapes for ourselves, plus there may be some stress-relieving uses for the staff down the road. I think we could all benefit from some time in a dark, unenclosed space, don't you? If you have any more questions, feel free to stop by my office. You know where it is. Fucking no, nobody who works for the FBC needs to be in a dark, enclosed space. I feel like that's the last thing they need, darling. You're not fucking helpful. And then there's a note over here. Dr. Tokui investigation. So completed by Lisa Keenum by order of Casper Darling. Dr. Yoshimi Tokui, a Japanese citizen residing in Tokyo, has produced a series of guided imaging experience audio recordings that have gained notable popularity around the globe. Due to his unusually swift rise in fame, along with reports of vivid blank accompanying use of his tapes, investigation sector staff were asked to look into Dr. Tokui's background. We found no past incident with an altered occurrence, however, nor any evidence of involvement with altered organization. However, agents that attended the signing event reported blank when hearing Dr. Takui speak. We recommend that the research team obtain audio recording of Dr. Takui's voice and perform all relevant analyses. Based on the findings, the investigation sector will determine next steps regarding Dr. Takui, as well as his eligibility for the Prime Candidate Program. I am just not able to speak in English today. We also have, I forgot about this, we got our explanation of the X-ray light box. So, this is the one we picked up that'll help me mind control people. No unique containment procedures required. The object is a light box used to examine X-ray images. The image cannot be removed from the light box. The information on the images belongs to a patient named Blank. The object allows para-utilitarians to forcefully seize an individual's blank. The seized individual becomes blank to the user. The effect lasts blank. Once released, the seized blank as a result of the psychic trauma, I'm assuming dies. The object has no current binder. Background. A janitor named Blank found the object at St. Anne's Hospital in Blank. Soon the building's occupants were Blank by him. The Bureau dispatched an emergency response team to Blank, the perpetrator, and Blank, the item. Fatalities numbered in the blank. For operation data, see cases, blah. I'm assuming that's hundreds because you don't say numbered in the tens. So, that janitor fucked shit up. Good to know. Let's see, what do we have in multimedia? Oh, it's just going to be that audio recording we picked up. That's fine. The one we picked up of the guy talking about going into the X-ray light box. So that's it for the new power here and exploring that little area. I'm going to get the heck out of Dodge. And I was going to show you what I mean by some of these areas feel very different with this this levitation ability. We're going to go to Central Executive. I showed you what it looks like when we moved around research and how it behaves differently there. Central Executive and Executive in general is also similarly changed by having the ability to move vertically. And I want to show you just a couple spaces in there that are really cool. Namely, the dead letters room. I told you it was nifty, and we looked up and we saw that dark void in the sky. You're going to love it now, that we can float upward as opposed to just jump around the room on ground level. So yeah, I'm going to try to cut out, like I said, if I can load into the area in advance, I'd love to, but obviously if we're in the middle of a load screen in the middle of the video, there's nothing I can do about that. I just have to entertain you while we go through it. I do like that they use Polaris for the load screen. This is kind of the blue crystalline structure that they use whenever Polaris talks to Jesse, so it's a good chance to see what it looks like. It really looks like big tourmaline crystals to me. Alright, so we're in Central Executive, and we can't levitate here in particular because, well, actually all of our powers are dampened here because they don't want us to fuck up Central Executive, I guess? I don't know why. So, this is where we went early on in the game when we were first pursuing Tomasi. Did I open this door yet? I didn't open this door yet. Ha ha ha. Sometimes it's fun to go back through these areas because you get higher level keys. This is just a regular security office, right? So this is where we first heard Tomasi giving that his incantation. And these were kind of the first enemies we ran into early on. I found a bunch of crap over here. Nobody up here right now. This is that weird red section that if I go too close to it, it starts to deal damage to me. Yeah, so you can't go in there. It looks like that's a room, so at some point we're going to go in there during the game, right? I bet you can tell it's a boss section. It's a boss section, in case you were curious. That's what we do there. But now, little innocent things like the plants up there should spark your curiosity, because we can get there now. And sure enough, there's all sorts of hidden items and objects in areas that look otherwise just purely aesthetic or inaccessible. I was really hoping there was something going on in this tree, but as far as I can tell, there isn't. It's just a tree, which is too bad. Let's see, this shelter, I think there was something weird about this shelter. I think it's full of mold. Yeah, so I still can't go in here because I still haven't gotten that mold stuff. I might do that off camera because I am telling you it is awful. But there's a file down here, Havana summary. All right. Oh yeah, this is the same thing we were talking about, the Cuba thing, and how it's an actual audio event that people were weirded out by. So, Havana summary. 9/23/2017, an auditory event occurred at the United States Embassy in Havana, injuring the majority of diplomatic staff stationed there. Blank deaths were reported, and the outgoing information has been managed. Bureau agents arrived at the embassy on the same day as the event was reported, though through federal channels, but we were too late to witness the AWE, which is reported to have been blank. Staff experienced intense vibrations and noise, accompanied by an intense pressure in the ears. This lasted for blank minutes. No visual phenomena were witnessed. The scene was cordoned off, and the embassy staff was transported to the continental U.S. After Formula I.9 was recited in the vicinity, a single cowboy boot began to vibrate, identifying it as an altered item. The item was contained and brought to the Bureau for examination. So, their argument is that a cowboy boot was the altered item, and that's why Havana went to shit. Also, it implies that there were deaths, and I don't think there were deaths in the real world when this thing happened in Cuba, but who am I to say that a shady government organization didn't cover that up? Right? I don't know. So, this is my favorite room, and now when you look up, it should feel a lot less like, oh, interesting architecture, and a lot more like, I want to go there. So these elevators are out of service. Oh, okay, well, apparently I'm actually really good at exploring this area. And that's fine. I don't mind showing that. I bet there's some downstairs. Oh, yeah. Hey, we got to see someone. Finally. Yeah, you go kill your buddies. So, yes, seize does kill them eventually, and I think I believe I can seize 2 at a time. Though their health slowly ticks down, so it's good to keep seizing them as you go, because you're going to keep losing them just to attrition, basically. But I can upgrade how long they last, how much damage they do, when they're my enemy or when they're my friendlies, that kind of thing in my talent tree. And so his seize wore off. He definitely was the one I had seized earlier, and it just wore off. So I think I can prevent that from happening by leveling up my talent tree, basically. We've already been in there for sure, right? Yeah, I think that's where the Threshold Kids video was. That's the problem with playing the same video game multiple times. Sometimes you're like, wait, have I done that in this game? Oh, we've got a door we haven't unlocked yet. Cool, cool, cool. Let's see what we've got here. A file. Fake planes. Okay, so the files in here are weird. I'll read you some of them. Airplanes aren't real. I figured out how they do it. The windows are TV screens. The whole thing moves on big tracks like a roller coaster that moves through underground tunnels in the earth. Airports are more like train stations. They do this because the sky is full of monsters they don't want us to know about. The planes we see in the sky are the monsters. The government made the earth trains look like the monsters so they could lie to us better. Don't contact me. That's dead letters. You gotta love this department. This is great. So there's no way higher up than this, right? We're kind of reached our maximum because there's just nowhere to go. We don't have any elevators that work. So we're going to use levitation and a little bit of speed walking. And then we can get back here. And once we're up here, all of these floors are connected by stairs, so we can get anywhere we want. So here's another file. Smoking ban. Thanks to the recent smoking ban in my state, I'm happy to inform you I will not be voting for you in the next election. As everyone knows, smoking is being banned because the smoke is toxic to the aliens that the government sold our planet to at a secret deal. If humans keep smoking, the aliens won't be able to live on Earth. Our air will be poison to them. If you government traitors can't stop people from smoking, then you won't get your millions of dollars from the aliens. I have a website. People know what's going on. We're going to keep smoking no matter what. This is a national emergency. Politicians are handing over the planet to alien overlords. We won't let you. We will resist. I will smoke forever. Signed, a proud smoker/rebel/patriot. You know what's ridiculous is there's actually some entertaining idiots in the media right now, how they're saying face masks are like an affront to God and all offensive and an evil government conspiracy, and I'm just like, you know what you sound like, right? And they know they're crazy. They don't care. They're stupid. They're crazy. I feel like Remedy could never have guessed how stupid people were in reality. Like, haha, we'll make this stupid story about someone who believes smoking is preventing aliens from taking over the Earth. And They never could have known that the people are that stupid. Pinstripe world. I'm a plaid suit in a pinstripe world. Repeated a lot. Blacked out once. I'm a plaid suit in a pinstripe world. I'm not reading all of those. You don't need me to read those. You get the point. Let's see. There's nothing over here. Still the elevator. Oh, another lovely vending machine, just in case we got hungry. Nothing over here. Okay, let's go up a story. Oh, wait, there's nothing back here either, right? No, nothing. All right, let's go up one more story. I love these stairs. I love these stairs. Okay, so now we're at the top floor. There's a couple more items for me to pick up. I think there's a couple more correspondences, and you can just get a really beautiful view of the room. Vivid dreams. To the esteemed members of the American Psychiatric Council, I'm writing you to inquire about the significance of dreams in relation to one's mental health. I am aware that there are many books purporting to contain the true meaning of dreams, but I have reservations about their legitimacy. I understand this is not usually done, but I would greatly appreciate your thoughts on my condition. Ever since I was young, I've had intensely vivid dreams. They only occur sporadically, but in them I witness very strange events. I understand dreams can seem real at times, but these feel markedly different. They do not occur often, perhaps 1 or 2 a year. Last night I had one. I saw a small empty town. It was utterly dark. There was a lake at its center. Shadows of people moved around me, muttering odd things. A bright light woke me up. I was screaming in my sleep. My wife had been shaking me for minutes before I awoke. Because of this recent incident, I have decided to seek help. The doctors say I'm physically fine, but I want to consult your expertise. Thank you for your valuable time. Yours very sincerely, Richard Bowker. So, town, dark, lake at the center, light woke you up. It's an Alan Wake reference. Again, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, anytime you've got a lake and darkness and light, you're in an Alan Wake reference. That's kind of how it works. This is why the elevators don't work. Because they are stuffed to bursting with mail. Which kind of implies like a clock-like AW or altered item, I feel like. Also, you can see there's like mail drifting down from the big hole in the ceiling. I don't think you can get up there. Like, there's nothing up there. There's an invisible ceiling. Yeah, you can't actually get up to those upper levels, which is a crime and a shame because I would give my left lung to get up to those upper levels. I want to know what's up there, man. Alright, let's get this item. And I don't know if you saw it, but there was one small area I failed to explore, which was the stairwell leading up off of the first floor. I'm going to try to get up there one more time. I mean, I know I can't. I know that consciously, but I just want to be able to. Yeah, there's definitely an invisible wall. That's so unfortunate. I want to know what's up there. I just want to climb and climb and climb. Probably darkness and death. So this is the beautiful, beautiful dead letters department. And like I said, now that you've seen it with levitation, it feels very different than it did when we first walked in. It feels like a jungle gym. Our whereabouts. Hey, you have questions and the prophets have your answer. If you're truly intrigued, watch the time. We've lost about 45 days in the last 4 years. The shortening of days, this is why the Vatican sundial is also simultaneously a keyhole. Another thing while I'm here is if you want the secret to everything, compare plasma next to brain cells. The sun and moon are composed of plasma, simply light, not planets. After this is cemented in your psyche, ponder the current whereabouts of where you, I, and humanity resides. Cheers! Thanks. That's what I needed. So, basically, I'm going to get over there. So I've already been over here. You saw me walk around, but below me there is an office, and it has bulletproof glass. So, this was where I was just a second ago. I just break shit. This is where I was just a second ago, where I walked in through this door, up this stairwell, and we can get into this room with bulletproof glass. I have a level 4 key, because I'm a fucking badass. Hell yeah! And we get one final note, which is White Kitchen. Dear gentlemen of the Society of Sciences, it has been some time since I sent my initial letter. I hope it is not the case that you have dismissed my claims outright. In that hope, I am writing to you once more to ask for your help in understanding the oddity that has befallen in my home. I have recently begun renting a new apartment in the city. The space is nothing special, though for a time I found the isolation quite soothing. Recently I have begun experiencing a strange occurrence. When I'm in my kitchen, a tiny little thing with not much but a sink, I sometimes lose myself. My surroundings change. I find myself standing on a strange dark zone. I stare at a colorless sky, as white as undisturbed snow, terrified of moving. Perhaps this is a brain issue? I think not, as it feels terribly real. This has been occurring for some months now, and I've become frightened of entering the kitchen. If it is not too much of an inconvenience, I would dearly appreciate a visit from one of your professionals to see what they make of it. I await your response with little expectation, but with great hope. Yours very truly, Lorraine Fitzgerald. That sounds like the astral plane to me. So my working theory is that, yeah, her kitchen semi-regularly turns into the astral plane, and that's fine. The astral plane has to go somewhere, right? I greatly fucked up that desk. Whoops. Nothing else in here. But yeah, so a lot of these spaces that initially are still absolutely beautiful becomes even more breathtaking now that you can get upward in them and actually explore them in 3 dimensions. And I really appreciate that about this game. I think there was one thing back here that I didn't check out. Yes, there was a box up here and one more file. I knew there was a section I didn't look in. There's probably several sections I didn't look in, so if you're watching this and you're not Mom and you found those sections, I'm sorry. It's gotta be frustrating. Alright, cat clock. My clock is shaped like a cat and its eyes move and I think it's angry, but I keep apologizing and it won't stop. And I said I'm sorry, but it won't leave me alone and I don't know what it wants and I can't keep apologizing. Do you see it now? Do you see it now, too? It told me everyone is here and I need to be careful so they don't see me writing this letter. It wants me to stay with it, with my eyes on its eyes, moving very fast, but I can't keep going. I worry that it will forget about me, so I need you to write you because I can't keep going because the cat, because of his eyes blacked out. Tough day for that dude. You start to feel bad about people who encounter AWEs. Some of them seem harmless, but a lot of them seem kind of like attention whores. They just want somebody to focus on them, and if you're focusing on them, generally it's harmful to you. Yeah, this is a very good room. Dead Letters is a very good room. Okay, so, but with that having been said, let's go check out what else there is to offer. So this area was relatively banal and boring to begin with. I don't think there's anything else for us to explore. We've already gotten up here. Same old, that's fine. Let's try over here. What do we have going for us? Well, this was, let's go to the mail room, leads there. This is just where the furnace was, right? Or not the furnace, the mail tube thing was shooting mail at us. Oh, this is an unlockable door that I should be able to get into now. Hey, yeah, it was a level 1. I should have been back here before. Alright, so there's an item box, yeah. And is there a file? I swear I thought there was a file in this one. Yeah, there is. Havana supplement. So more about this Cuban situation. Bureau medical staff personally evaluated the injured embassy personnel when they arrived back in the country. While the victims reported cognitive issues, dizziness, and fatigue, further testing by the Bureau medics found intense cell damage similar to that of radiation exposure. Agents and research staff remained to take soil samples from the surrounding area, but found no trace of a blank beyond the health issues of the staff. The communications department disseminated a story of foreign power using blank blank on the embassy staff, resulting in various health issues that required an embassy to be evacuated. The story successfully took hold and gained brief international attention, which is what happened, at least in the real world. It gained brief international attention. Everyone was like, I'm sorry, sonic weaponry? Can we talk about that again? That sounds really terrifying. So, we went to Dead Letters. That's a dead end to a shelter. Let's go over here to the mail room and see what the mail room looks like in 3 dimensions. And as I recall, not particularly interesting. I refer to it as though we're not already experiencing all of this in 3 dimensions, which we are, but... So right, we could already get up to this 2nd floor, really. Kill some dudes. Anybody else want some death? Anybody else need to die? Probably somewhere behind me. They're always behind me. Regardless, what we can do now is get up here, and the enemies won't spawn up here. This is just a little side area. I think there's something on the other side. Both of these are pretty bland, not much going on. It's just one of those, just in case you came back and thought to explore in 3 dimensions, here's some exploration you can have. Yep, that was a rocket, and I was ignoring it. Sometimes I just ignore rockets. It's the thing I do. So I got a house memory for being up here. Looks like there's a... I do like touches like this. There's a ladder up here. I can't actually use that ladder. It's levitation or bust as far as how to get up here for me. But it's so satisfying that they put a ladder in the game because, damn it, you have to maintain this shit somehow. And how would you get up here without a ladder? That was a larger explosion than I anticipated. And so, sometimes I will put off killing some of them, because once you've killed, like, I think all but one of the first wave, that's when the second wave can spawn. So it's sometimes useful to just not kill the low-level enemies in the first wave, because at least that buys you time, and you're just running around getting shot in the back of the head gently, as opposed to painfully. But... Ooh! He definitely got me with that rocket. Come on. Sometimes I will pause and it'll look like I'm not shooting anything because I'm trying to pull a piece of cement towards myself and use it as a projectile weapon. But occasionally that just doesn't work for some reason in this game. Sometimes it is because I am out of the energy that one uses to do that. But sometimes it's also just because I'll be holding it and I have the energy and just nothing happens, which is frustrating. So I do not think, go up there, unfortunately. Which is a crime and a shame because that's where Tomasi went. We do run into Tomasi later in the game. Remember, he escaped. He got out of here without us by crawling up there, despite the fact that we tried to kick his ass. Oh, I was doing a nice little visual glitch there every time I try to look up. So, we've been to this room before, obviously. I don't think there's too much more that's interesting out here. Maybe there's something on the roof of the hotline chamber. I've never checked. It just occurs to me. I've never checked that. Let's find out. So the hotline chamber is over here. And now I can levitate. I could actually get on top of it. There's nothing on the roof of the hotline chamber. That's too bad. Darn it. I think it goes up infinitely, and I think it goes down infinitely. So don't fall off, you'll die. But that's okay. And I think this is supposed to be black rock, but it really looks like acoustic tile. It gives me strong X-Men vibes, this entire area. So, that central executive is seen through kind of a three-dimensional lens as opposed to the normal two-dimensional when we're running around. The levitate ability really does make every section something that you want to re-explore. I think there's one area that I have not yet shown you. Not central, but in the general offices. Oh, another box, another file. So you end up having to explore these same areas over and over. Agent death notification. This one's just a little sad. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Potts, I regret to inform you that your son, Graham Potts, was killed in active duty. When the details surrounding his collective death are classified, I am honored to tell you that he died in the service of his country. And you'll be proud of his courage in the face of danger and his commitment to protecting our nation against our enemies. He will be remembered by his comrades and colleagues. I sincerely regret the pain this message will bring you. Take some solace in knowing that his sacrifice helped protect the country he loves so much. His effects will be returned to you with all speed. Sincerely yours, Howard J. Murray, Deputy Chief of Communications, FBC. So, again, like I said, all of these tell a story. It's not always a happy story. That one's literally just there to remind you people fucking die. And we have to tell their parents. So, the last area that we get to explore vertically, is this, which I think is just executive affairs. It's a general office area. And like I said, when we first came in, there's these oppressive kind of monolithic cement structures hanging over some of the offices, and they seem really terrifying and, like I said, oppressive. But once you have levitate ability, everything seems like less of a big deal. It just doesn't feel as terrifying. So here's a fun fact, and this took me a couple tries to figure out. There's hidden areas all throughout this game, and you can stand on levitated agents just for a second. You have like a millisecond. If I land on his face and I jump again, if I time it right, I can actually levitate higher up because of it. It's really hard to pull off. So I'm gonna try it a couple times. There is a hidden area just above, on top of this monolithic thing that I'm standing next to. And the only way that I know to get to it is to drop onto this poor agent's face and then levitate again. I'm not able to. But as you can see, there's a box up there. I might need to upgrade my levitate a little bit more before I can do that anyway. But it changes the way you feel about these spaces. That giant, oppressive square of cement just kind of feels like a launching platform now that you know you can get up there. And that's kind of the most satisfying thing about this game, in my opinion. So I think there was one area that was locked, and there's a couple areas in here that were locked with doors, keycard doors that I can now open. So this is one, and it gives me a file, para-utility. Objects of power and their para-utility. Objects of power are unique in their capacity to grant certain individuals paranatural abilities. We call these individuals para-utilitarians. The potency of these abilities depends on the para-utilitarian. Using the blank object of power as an example, some para-utilitarians can achieve a throw distance of blank, while others are capable of as little as blank. See Dr. Darling presentation 11.15 for more information. They're talking about the floppy disk, which shoots things. One time they even threw a coffee cup. What exactly determines an individual's paranatural competence is unknown, but is largely believed to be some blank exists within the body, and that, like all muscles, it can be exercised. To continue my analysis, I have officially requested access to the Northmore records, considering he's one of the most accomplished para-utilitarians the board has ever seen. Dr. Darling is still considering this request. Compiled by Emily Pope. So Darling was blocking her ability to see the Northmore records because she wanted to find out more about para-utilitarians, which, again, is no surprise to us because it seems like Darling is keeping secrets. Seems like maybe he didn't want people finding everything out that they should have been able to find out, and I can understand why Pope was frustrated by this. So, that was one of the unlockable doors. I'm pretty sure there's another one with post-its that might be my favorite door in the game. Yeah, the agents are bitching.
Well, I need to fucking know. I'm an upper-level executive, damn it.
Oh, I wish I could shoot him, but I can't. But he does make a good point. I mean, you would want to know. Oh, research and records. Pope's promotion. Review. Dr. Darling has personally recommended Mrs. Pope for a promotion based on her work ethic and assistance in advancing many ongoing research matters. See research reports blank for breakthroughs resulting from her work. According to her colleagues, Pope has displayed a keen eye for detail and a quick grasp of paranatural concepts. She is professional and diligent, though some of her coworkers complain about social disinterest. The review committee approves this recommendation and promotes Mrs. Pope to the position of research specialist. So, as much as he was an asshole to her, he was working to get her promoted, I suppose. That's something, right? There's some weird, complex stuff going on, like that awful Abraham Lewis who was trying to wheel a budget deal and then threaten the next letter. Here's another file, Collective Unconscious. Okay, so this one is compiled by Paula Bronte and Lorenzo Dunn by order of Emily Pope, Research Specialist, which means that Emily actually got to dictate what these people were researching. Not as the head of research, but as a research specialist, which means that this was after that promotion that Darling got her took place. So she did get to work on some of the stuff she wanted to for a while. So, summary. Collective unconscious is defined as a form of the unconscious that is shared in all human minds. From this arises unconscious knowledge linking us through our ancestral heritage. See Young Report, pages 12 through 34. Through his collective unconscious, we unknowingly attribute a series of images and archetypes to all elements of our lives. The archetypes are never fixed, but shift and change in tandem with our species and our culture. The internal belief in the power of images shared by a massive population is blank in the creation of an altered object and items of power. Altered items and objects of power. Let's try that again. The sheer amount of blank exuded is attracted to the best representation of the image, imbuing a single object with massive amounts of blank. Theoretically, places of power could likewise be formed by the simple power of sustained collective belief. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what's going on with the house. I don't think that the oldest house was as strong as it is until the FBC came here and was told the oldest house is very strong, and believed the oldest house to be very strong. I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's always an interesting fun fact. Here we have, the post-it room. I love the design in this goddamn game. Okay, if you two are bitching about Irish, I swear to God, I will shoot you in the head. Just throwing it out there. I can shoot people in the head. And I will shoot you in the head. Anyway, here's an item. Sticky note complaint. To whom it may concern, in case you were not aware, something caused a sticky note in my office to duplicate. My office is unusable now. I'll be working from home until this is resolved. You can reach me on my cellar home phone. Sincerely, Jay Bozier, Vice Chief of Staff. Oh, maybe that's why everything's all fucked up. The Chief of Staff wasn't here, so Emily gets a promotion to whatever position Darling thinks will placate her. and everything's completely screwed up all the time. That seems plausible, you know? That seems kind of like what could be happening here. This office brings me such joy. Look at all the Post-its. They're all blank. None of them say anything. I don't know why it makes me so happy. I think that's the only item in here. So this I'm not able to pick up because I already have too many mods for my guns and my ammo and my health. Because I keep picking them up, and you can only carry a certain number of them at a time, which is frustrating. So what I end up doing is sorting by type and just destroying excess, the lower level excess. And I recommend doing this every so often just to make your life easier. And then do the same thing for your weapons, because you're gonna have the same problem. So by sorting by type, I mean, and some of these I still won't ever use, like spin. So spin is a weapon that's kind of like a Gatling gun or a machine gun, and I just don't use it. I hate that gun. I don't even think I've built it. So that won't be as useful to me.
Sit on our asses and then leaves? What's the deal?
Yeah, you know what? Marshall gets to do whatever the fuck she wants because she's the best. I don't like that my rangers are complaining. I get that you're frustrated, but it's kind of, you know, the end of the world, and I need you to keep your mud together, guys. So that was a thorough exploration of Central Executive and the effects that being able to move vertically has on Central Executive. That room that I said has nothing in it, obviously now has Dylan in it, and we can initiate another conversation because he still should have some dreams to tell us about.
Maybe Dylan's still in there. Maybe there's a way to reach him.
I'd like to talk to my brother, please. Dylan?
Dylan would like to tell you about a dream he had just now.
This again?
I was going to be the new director of this place. I helped you get a job here so that we could be together. You were an office assistant. You'd make coffee and deliver the mail, and there was always plenty of work to do. And it stayed that way forever and ever. It was nice. Really nice.
That's a creepy one.
But here's the strange thing. The dream shifted, and none of it was real anymore. It was a game. We were in a game, and it was a fucking boring game. But you couldn't stop playing.
I mean, to be fair.
And then it shifted again. Or maybe it was another dream already. Or maybe I'm just confusing them. But in this other dream, it was more like a musical.
Let's not do that one.
This is an ordinary song about an ordinary girl from an ordinary town. It's the ordinary story. She worked an ordinary job in an ordinary office. Something. And that's all I can remember of that dream.
Maybe that's for the best.
Yeah, that one's weird. Okay, go back to floating. Have fun floating, my dude. Keep looking for files, like I'm going to find something in this room, and I don't think there's ever anything in this room. I think he's just in there, and I think we've already heard the 3 dreams that he has to tell us about. We've already checked out those offices. Pope's down here. I think our next step, if I recall correctly, was to head to the ordinary, the AWE? Yeah, the ordinary site. So if I fast travel, let's see. Yeah, the turntable is where it wants me to go. So, let me wait for the map to load, because of course the map never wants to load for me. Always does this. So I want to get to the turntable, and I think the way I get there is through the prime candidate program. Right, so I want to go to logistics. We were partway there already, actually, when we went to logistics. It's kind of a back and forth part on this part of the game, because I was in that area, right, and then, oh my god, Dylan wasn't in his containment cell, so I came back, and then Dylan said you had to go check out the prime candidate program, so I went back to see the prime candidate program, and I told you that I'm underwhelmed with the level of betrayal of like, oh my god, they knew about me and were following me all along. Whatever. And then you end up going back again to try to get to the turntable and the ordinary world site. So that's where we're going now, if I recall correctly. And I don't always recall correctly. This game is confusing and back and forthy and very weird sometimes. So it should be a hard left. Sounds plausible. I always have to run one direction and then check the map and be like, am I going the right direction? Nope. Straight. I was supposed to go straight. Just straight. That's fine. Yeah, it looks better. Okay, so we're going through security. I still get lost in this place. Through security, to the right, through the Prime Candidate program. There should be an elevator. Oh, look, more enemies. I don't know if I care. I'm not positive. No, I've decided I don't care. You can just choose not to care. Alright, so now we're in Prime Candidate program. Right, I unlocked these doors so we could get back through this area. We have the P6 and P7 data cells. And then we have this area here, which is our new section. So let's open this box. That's right, I got in here and unlocked this. This is the audio recording of Jessie and her therapist. Back there was the Darling presentation.
I studied what happened in Ordinary here. That's the place to start looking.
So I don't have to maintain eye contact with them or anything while I am trying to mind control them. So I'll regularly get one, mind control it, start the mind control, and then run the fuck away! And again, I'll regularly mind control more than one because it's going to wear off anyway. And you can kill them yourself because they don't stay mind controlled, so why not just kill them yourself, right? Bye, buddy. Alright, so we've got a file here. Oh yeah, the work chat. So there was the airplane guy who said, you know, plane parts. I know the number of all the pieces in a plane. This is the guy who wrote him. I see your creepy teeth delivery and raise you a dead dog. Yeah, like a straight up deceased dog. Had a collar on it and everything. Been rotting in that box since they picked it up. Go ahead and imagine how that smelled. Don't go whining to me. I wish I got to watch a parade of human teeth. So now you're wondering who the original guy was that was complaining about watching a parade of human teeth. You discovered these items in reverse order, and I think that's the point, is you're just like, I'm confused. What's wrong with this place? So I think this is going to be a bathroom. Oh, no, just a file room. Okay. Willow AWE shipping manifest. Okay. Willow AWE. Inventory list of recovered items. A hollow sphere, stone-like material. Vitrified soil, blank. Pieces of various sizes and colors. Animal carcass, possibly canine. Rusted metal bucket. Leather wallet. Aged shotgun cartridge. All materials to go to the investigation sector for further analysis. Deceased dog. Okay. Terrifying. I wonder where the Willow AWE is and if it has anything to do with the ordinary AWE. Because there is talk of a dog-like thing. So this, I knew they were going to do this to me eventually. You end up waiting for this elevator, right? And you're waiting, and you're being patient. And I fucking knew that eventually they would do that to me. The first time it happened, I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch, you got me. And he blew up right in my face. I was like, damn it! That's why you made me take the elevator. That's why it took time. She wanted to get me.
Dylan and I were both prime candidates.
They're pretty clever.
Experiments. Very different ones, sure, but both in a cell of some sort. Am I out of the cell now, or is all this, the house and being the director, just another cell? Who's really in charge here?
It becomes a weird thing. That is a good point that hadn't occurred to me. I guess that is the level of frustration or the level of manipulation that they've done. You don't know if you're the director because you were meant to be the director, because you got lucky and you're the director, or if because this was always the plan, is to always make you the director. Like, maybe they always wanted you to be the one who wandered around outside the house and either you or Dylan would make it work, and they didn't care which. So, I guess, yeah, that does add a little bit more betrayal to the situation. Wondering whether or not you're in power because you have power, or you're in power because they let you. Either way, I can throw grenades back at them, so it's hard to really complain about my situation right now. So, I may be in power, but at least I'm going to throw a grenade in someone's flippin' face. Is that it? Are we done? Alright. So this is where we get our next control point, which you can probably tell from the fact that it's bright red, a little bit claustrophobic, and square. And this is a really beautiful control point. They're all beautiful. It's like every character is my favorite. Every control point is my favorite to cleanse because it's just so satisfying. But this one, it goes a ways back. You really get to see it kind of recede into the distance. And those lift up, and then we can get to the turntable. So, I will head forward on that. But first,
started there, and it's never gone away.
Oh, I don't think I have a key code for this, do I? Oh, I do, but it's mold. So I'm not going in there then. That's fine. I can levitate now. And there's a window right there. And it's almost like they want me to levitate through that window. And sure enough, we do. I get an ability point because this is a hidden area. And I don't know what I did to deserve all of this wonderful 2 boxes and a file. Typewritten page supplement. It's an Alan Wake reference. So, the page was discovered in an instance of the Ocean View Motel and Casino that was linked to the investigations sector. The page had been pushed into the motel's corridor from under the door with a symbol of a spiral. Appendix, text transcribed from the item. For 10 years I've tried to write my escape, only sinking deeper. I used to know where fiction ends and reality begins. Here they are all the same. It's a hideous trap, my every thought made real. Fear, desire. How can I ever know for sure I've escaped and not just lost in my own fantasy of it? The thought alone can drive you mad. The identifiable words in the scratched out portion. Falls, Bright Falls, Haunting, Wake, Alan Wake, Light Switch, Ocean, Too Late, and the file sentence, You've been warned. Acquisition date, 8/27/2019. Oh, wait, no shit. Okay, so it just occurred to me that the acquisition date was 8/27/2019, and I think the AWE expansion, which is the, I'm just referring to as the Alan Wake expansion because the logo for it has Alan Wake and Control in the logo. But that's coming out in September of 2020, so it's like exactly 1 year after this is dropped, probably. The problem with this game is they put so much thought and time and effort into so many aspects of it, and it makes me a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. Because I want to go through and be like, is there a hint? Are they going to drop it early on the 27th? Will you be able to access it on the 27th if you do X, Y, or Z? Is it really dropping on the 30th? But you can get to it on the 27th only if you do blank. Like, all of those things are things that are possibly true because of the way this fucking game works.
Maybe there's a control panel nearby.
So, first I want to kill these fuckers. Please stop following me. Please stop following me. Okay. So, admittedly, the handgun that I'm using is not that strong, but I love it more than I should, because it's so much easier to use than some of the other weapons, and the rapid fire rate and the kickback on it to damage your enemies just makes my life so much better than anything else does. So, the turntable is broken, or not broken, it's in the wrong position. I think there's already a fucking astral spike down there, and he stays there for the rest of the game because astral spikes are shit. So, I can come over here to bridge operations, and immediately he'll start pursuing me because he's a piece of shit. Have I mentioned that yet? I really don't like astral spikes. I can go through here. I think this is just a box. Never mind. That's fine. I mean, I needed the item anyway. So I go up here, and I don't like the amount of mold here. I feel like there's mold people. I don't like mold people. You almost
There's gotta be a way to rotate these tracks.
Whoa! Fucked up that
Maybe
time.
there's a control panel nearby.
Yeah. BAP control panel. Also, we've got a work chat teeth. Finally, we get the story about the teeth. Guess who just had to inspect an inbound delivery of 100 teensy-tiny little boxes? Me, that's who. And you know what was inside each one? A single human tooth. Fucking gross. Honestly, this actually makes me think of the podcast. I don't know if I've gotten you into podcasts yet, Mom, or if anybody else has heard of this one, but there's this podcast called The White Vault, and they find these little boxes, and they have, like, human teeth inside, and I really hope that's a reference to this, because just, The White Vault's a wonderful, terrifying Siberian horror kind of podcast, and it's, you know, dark and beautiful and wonderful and scary as shit.
It won't rotate. Something's blocking it.
Yeah, something is. What is blocking it? Oh. Probably something over there, right? Yeah. I'm stupid. Blow those up. It should rotate afterwards. There we go. Probably should have done that first. Once you have the levitate ability, you sort of use it for stupid purposes. You're just like, I can levitate. Oh, I can levitate. So there's some windows up there that I'm pretty certain are safety glass and I cannot get into. Yep, that looks like that is... Oh, entertainingly enough, we've been there. That's near the clocks. That's right, that's where that is. So that was that window I looked at where I said, oh, you can see that it says something about Sterling Avenue and, oh, Ordinary dump site. But we're from Ordinary, yeah. So that was the window over the clocks. Entertaining, it's like so close yet so far away. Okay, so let's get this item here. It's just framed art of a... That is weird, actually. Framed art of a window of a window? That's something that, like, I feel like we've taken that photo out on Highway 50, for sure. But, that's a weird thing to just have here, actually. There's nothing, like, behind this wall, is there? That'd be a weird thing. There is! Oh, I did not know this was here, you guys. Oh, I just got, like, suspicious. I was just like, that's a weird thing to have there. Why would that be there? What? That looks really strange to me, too, but I doubt there's a hidden area inside a hidden area. Still, this is cool. I had no idea this was here. Now I'm gonna be... I can't trust walls anymore, you guys. Well, I'm just gonna have to check everything now. Like, if it dents, I guess we're okay. If it cracks, then I guess we're not. Was this on the map? I guess... No, not really. Cool! Getting suspicious pays off. This is what I mean, though. This is what I mean. You could spend a lot of time in this game being like, I don't know, that seems kind of suspicious. It might secretly be a code. I'm going to spend 12 hours putting it into Excel spreadsheet and trying to decode it. Maybe that'll tell me something. I mean, it could happen. I'm not saying I'm going to transcribe all of the presentations by Dr. Darling and see whether or not there's a reason for the static when the static happens. I'm not saying I'm going to do that. But I've considered it repeatedly. Oh, this is one of those Invisa enemies. Yeah, I fucking hate these guys, right? I talked about this. They are the worst. You can only see them because they have this vague, cerebral shadowiness around them. And God, you have to take them down fast because they do so much damage. Okay, was that it? I mean, normally it spawns more than one enemy in this section for me. In my experience. I'm just looking around. Were you it? You were the one? Just the one? Okay. It's not so bad. Nothing back here? Okay. Another little chest over here. Entropic echoes. Don't think I can get over here. Oh, there's a chest there. So I have to be able to get over there somehow. Some way. That's got to be doable. There's two chests. Can I break through that? Go through there? This game, man. This fucking game. Oh, it's another painting of a window. Paintings of windows? The indestructible walls. How many paintings of windows have I missed? I love this fucking game. This is the best fucking game, guys. I guess this one is probably the hint. This one's the one where you're like, there's got to be a way into that room, and then when you explore it and you can't get into the room, you must look for that painting of a window and be like, oh, maybe I can destroy that. Paintings of windows are actually doorways. You know, there's something very, like, occult, creepy magic about that makes perfect sense to me. Like, a painting of a doorway is a doorway. Think Roadrunner logic. Makes perfect sense. A painting of a doorway is a doorway. Sure, why not? So I remember this one. I'm pretty sure this spawns some enemies. I'm pretty sure. Maybe not. What's in here? Another box, another fuse. I wish there were more puzzles in this game, harder puzzles in this game, I guess, because some of them are kind of easy, like the fuses, and even like the hardest puzzle in here really was all the hexagonal cards when we were trying to get the HRA production back up and running, and that wasn't challenging enough for me. Like, the first time it took me a minute, but it's not like it randomizes them or anything, so it's just not quite hard enough, in my humble opinion. But then again, I used to play Silent Hill 3 with the puzzles turned on hard, which is stupid, because on hard some of the puzzles are actually impossible. Maybe that spawned the enemies. Not sure. Swear to God, I thought at some point enemies spawned. Maybe I'm crazy. I think this is the airplane that poor guy had to count and assemble every single bolt for. So that's a nice thought. Someone has bitched about this airplane. Probably stood where I'm standing to bitch about this airplane. Feel a little bad for the guy, not that bad. So, let's take our elevator up. Nobody exploding in this one now. That's nice. We always like it when we don't get our faces blown off when we try to enter an elevator. Alright, well, gonna get our faces blown a little bit off. Only a little bit. Stop it! Stay away from me! I really don't like explodey boys. They're called hiss charge, right? I just call them explodey boys because they're so explodey. But they are my least favorite thing in the fucking game. I just kind of suck with it. I don't know why. I mean, one could argue that I just kind of suck at the game, I suppose. There's all sorts of mean things you could say about why I suck at the hiss charge. Oh, those guys aren't cool either. Nothing about this area is fun. Okay. Well, that took care of most of them. Did that take care of everyone? No. I was gonna say, I think this guy has a name, which means he's hardball, right? So staff officer, and then he's got a random name behind him. Anytime they have a random name, it doesn't matter what it is, they're either a boss, or they're just an extra hard enemy. Tomasi had a name, obviously Salvador had a name. That guy, just some officer, but still. Airplane evaluation order. So it's about the plane. The airplane in question has been brought in from a private airfield located in the town of Blank, Cincinnati. It's expected to be connected to the Blank AWE. See Blank for details, and is be evaluating for altered status. The plane currently being stored in the transit corridor in the containment center brought there through the New York subway tunnel. Special access Blank. For more information on the tunnel Blank, Urban Legend Center and Ghost Stations, Abandoned Tracks Blank, see value Blank. Plane's black box is currently being evaluated for Blank, and initial recordings have been taken by the research team, though no altered status has yet been detected. So they really straight up made that poor guy take apart a fucking airplane, and they don't even think it's an AWE. Cold, man. FBC is ice cold. Okay. So I'm just checking around to make sure I didn't miss any boxes or any files or anything important, and I didn't. But you can tell by the fact that I missed the first two paintings that it's easy for me to miss shit. I love how well lit this corridor is. From whence? Whence does that fucking light come from? All of that from that one... I don't buy it. Lighting in this is great. Oh! Hey, buddy! I didn't see you there. He's got a report. Ordinary AWE, stage 1.A. The first slide was a room filled with dirty wallpaper and dolls on the shelf. There were a lot of dolls. DF interview 2002. Dylan Faden. The house was empty. No one lived there. We played it in there a lot. It was our secret playhouse. JF, therapy session 2010. Okay, so maybe Jesse had actually been to the oldest house. The house was empty. That's interesting. The house was empty, and she uses a capital H house. Maybe one of the slides led to the oldest house, and that's why she was able to get in. But then, that's a lot to dissect in that one sentence. Or I guess it's 3 sentences. 4. I went to school with Neil. Some kids called him Nosebleed Neil. Note, likely Neil Hoisenberg, missing. It was mean. He had asthma. Tom, most likely Tom Barlow, missing, and his gang Freddie, note likely Freddie Bartwell missing, Hugo, no one by this name was found in public records, bullied him. We brought Neil to the dump to play. So the short version is, I went to school with Neil. Some kids called him Nosebleed Neil. It was mean. He had asthma. Tom and his gang, Freddie, Hugo, and bullied him. We brought Neil to the dump that day. Dylan Faden interview 2002. Unconfirmed existence of additional slide designation house. I'm going to call that the oldest house. I'm going to argue that whatever the slide projector was doing and wherever it was taking Dylan and Jesse, one of the slides took them to the oldest house, which may be why she feels so comfortable here and why she keeps saying things like, it seems logical, it seems rational. It's home. It's already home. She's already been here. So here we have an audio log.
You're listening to America Overnight, celebrating 29 years, shining a light in the shadows. Thank you for staying with us. Here's our first caller.
Hi. What I'm about to tell you, if they found out, I don't know what would happen.
If who found out, brother?
The men in the suits. They told me it was an industrial accident, but this is something else. Something nobody talks about. Ordinary.
This certainly doesn't sound very ordinary, caller.
No, not ordinary. Ordinary. It's a town. And it wasn't an industrial accident. I mean, that's what they said, but that's bullshit.
Whoa, please watch the language, caller. It may be 2 a.m., but we're still a family show.
I'm sorry. It's just, my brother lived there. They said the town was destroyed, but it wasn't. I went there. The people are gone, but the town's there. It's still there.
So the population of an entire town disappears, yet the town remains. Tell me, was the phrase, "there is no salvation," written anywhere?
I'm not sure.
The same thing happened in Brazil in 23, a village called Hor Verde. More than 600 people just up and left. The government said they were fleeing guerrilla forces, but we know the truth.
We know
A
that
mass
this is
abduction. As
a
predicted by my
reinformation
regular
process
guest,
that
Dr.
the FBC is promoting. So
You mean aliens?
he's trying to...
That's bullshit!
Yep.
I know they're lying!
Now I warned you about the language, caller. I'm afraid we're gonna have to cut you off.
The host
Time
is just
two.
trying to
It's time
disseminate
for a
bad
short
information
break.
and confuse
Hang in
people,
there.
and then once
America
the guy
Overnight.
called him on it, because he probably knows what happened in Ordinary, he just hung up on the caller. Ordinary summary. An AWE occurred in the town of Ordinary caused by an object of power, slide projector ID 00P15, discovered by local children at the dump outside of town. When a specific set of slides are used in the projected images open doorways to other dimensions. Multiple slides were used by the children, resulting in the disappearance of the town's adult population. Event response. On August 30th, 2002, siblings Dylan Faden, 10 years old, and Jesse Faden, 11 years old, were playing at the local dump when they found a discarded slide projector. See OOP15 case file and Darling Presentations blank for details. The team led by Director Trench and Dr. Darling arrived at the site on September 14th. The AWE had ended, but the team found the Faden children, who led them to the slide projector and the slides, which had been burned with the exception of one. Jesse escaped when agents attempted to detain the pair. In total, 17 surviving individuals were found in the town. All of them were brought in for questioning and tests. See interviews blank and prime candidate program files blank. So, there's actually a lot to digest here if we want to go through it. So this started on September 30th, which is interesting because I think that's when the new DLC is actually supposed to come out. We know that there's a Darling presentation on it, which is in fact what we're about to see in a minute here. The Dylan siblings were 10 and 11 years old in 2012, and they used to be playing at the dump, but they found the slide projector and went to alternate dimensions, which is what we read that they were already doing in those interview excerpts. So now let's look
There
at
is a curious correlation with the yet
one more Dr. Darling
unknowable forces
presentation.
intruding upon our world in the form of altered world events. These forces gravitate toward archetypal objects, a gun, a television, a supposedly haunted house. So
Oh, the house is definitely
clearly
haunted.
humanity affects this process. Our collective unconscious is a map of sorts. We hold the key, but we don't know how to use it. We create these archetypes through everyday life, popular culture, urban legends, but we are observing and influencing a complicated system in action. We can change the likelihood of something being a receptacle for these forces just by thinking about it. but we haven't found a method to control the outcome. And yet, there's something unique in us, in our dreams, in the conceptual reality with power, with our minds. What's the cause and what's the effect? Are we the starting point or just a necessary evil in this? A byproduct, a reflection, a projection? We'll struggle to find the answers to these hard questions, or die trying.
Optimism. Optimism. Real healthy. Alright, ordinary AWE Stage 4A. Interview, witness testimonies. Jesse and me followed the dung monkeys to the cave. There was a lot of them. More of the kids from town had joined up. It was real scary. Jesse grabbed the projector and we ran as fast as we could. They chased us. I fell and hurt my knee. Jesse tried to help me, but the dung monkeys were coming. They were just about to get us, but then Neil showed up. Neil looked like a dog, like a melted dog, but I knew it was him. Neil said a lot of times he didn't like being a boy because Tom just beat him up. I think he liked being a dog. Dylan Faden. The projector wouldn't turn off, so we changed the slide to hand. I heard her immediately. She promised to help. Jessie Faden, therapy session. Jessie said we should call her Polaris. It's because she was doing stars at school. Dylan Faden. Extrapolated information. Additional slide designation hand is verified and in bureau possession. Unconfirmed existence of paranatural entity designation dog Neil. I'm a little afraid that the deceased dog from Willow is actually Neil. I'm not positive. That'd be pretty dark. Hand. I don't know. Do we have the Darling presentation that talks about this yet? No, we don't. He mentions in one presentation there are 5 pillars stretched out there are 5 pillars in the distance like crude outstretched fingers. And my thought is, hand. That's the hand slide. Looks like a hand. Okay, so we've got another file here. Ordinary AWE Stage 2. After what happened at school to Miss Chester, we started spying on Tom and saw where they took the projector, Dylan Faden. Tom and his troglodytes were using the Sled Hill Caves as their headquarters. That's where the projector was. They'd been using the temple slide. We called it that, but really it was a broken concrete thing, like a warehouse or a bomb shelter or something. Very dark. The Knot mother lived there with her babies, children, I don't know. She was feeding Tom and the others her milk. They were changing into little monsters. We called them dung monkeys. Jessie Faden. Extrapolated information. Unconfirmed existence of an additional slide designation temple. Unconfirmed existence of paranatural entity designation not mother. Both of those are very creepy, in my personal opinion. So let's kill these fuckers. Oh, you take some rounds, don't you? Let's try that again. Okay. And a control point. We're going to claim it because, again, it'll save the game, which is important. Actually, I think claiming it saves the game, but I'm also just going to access it real quick because I know that does. And let's see, I think there was one more. Yeah, there's another audio
Annual
file.
evaluation of Dylan Faden, formerly P6, performed by Dr. Carla Vaughn. The questions asked here correspond to the 5th iteration of the Gunner's psychological assessment. Are you ready, Dylan? Let's begin then. In a single word, describe the world around you.
Where's Casper?
Dr. Darling is out of the building today.
He's never out. He didn't want to come, did he? He never visits, not since Roberts. Tell Darling it wasn't my fault. I couldn't control it yet, but I can now. I learned. Will you tell him?
In a single word, describe the world around you.
A prison. A cold, empty prison. Not even a poster on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Poster on the wall, metaphor
again.
again.
What is the next number in the sequence 3, 6, 9, 12, 15?
18.
What day is it today?
How the hell would I know? It's not like you give me a calendar.
You find a rabbit in the woods. It is breathing, but not moving. You cannot see any blood. What do?
Leave it.
Expand on that.
It doesn't matter. The rabbit's not real. None of it's real.
What day is it today?
Do you enjoy asking people questions that can't be answered? Is this what gets you up in the morning? What you dreamed of doing as a scared, stupid little girl?
Can you describe a dog to me?
In ordinary, we had a friend. Nosebleed Neil. And when it all went crazy, you know what I mean. Nosebleed Neil turned into a dog. Or something like a dog.
What day is it tomorrow?
Fuck off! I don't know! There is no calendar! How can I fucking know?
Dylan, calm down.
Fuck you! Fuck you and fuck Casper! Hey! Are you watching this, you old fuck? Did you send your bitch because you're too scared of me? Where is Casper?
Security, get a team in here. I need...
I'm pretty sure Carl is fine. But yeah, sounds like things were not going great. Casper stopped visiting after Roberts, whatever that means, and we find out later exactly what that means, unfortunately. And I'm trying this wall now. Fuck it, any wall that has a painting, I'm trying it from now on. Fuck. I'll be psyched out by that for days. And Darling stopped visiting Dylan altogether, which is also deeply fucked up. So, let's go to this ordinary AWE stage 1B. The second slide we called the meadow, but really it was just an empty lot with a bunch of weeds. There was a shack and a phone line. It smelled like flowers there. It was powerful, intoxicating. We had crazy dreams there. It must have been because of the smell. I didn't like it. I didn't like losing control. In the dreams, everything was melting, and when we'd come out, everything had melted around the projector. Jesse Faden. Neil was really into it. We found out he'd be going there more and more on his own. Then Tom beat the secret out of Neil and found the projector. He and his goons took it. Jesse Faden. We thought Neil had got lost inside the meadow when Tom changed the slide, but that's not what happened. Dylan Faden. Unconfirmed existence of an additional slide designation. Meadow. So we are just getting so much more information. This is probably reaching a little over an hour now. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it. We're going to explore the AWE event next time. And for now, I'll go ahead and save on this control point, and we'll call it done for the day. So I hope you guys had some fun with that. I hope my reading wasn't too fast nor too slow. I'm trying to breeze through some of the quicker ones, but now that we're getting into the lore of Dylan's history and Ordinary and Jesse and, I don't know, the slide projector, it gets really cool here, and just some of the data that you get and interactions, like the whole, they've been watching Jesse this whole time, so I don't know, I have weird feelings about that. Maybe they intentionally left her out in the cold. Maybe the idea was compare the two siblings and see which one's a better prime candidate if one's inside and one's outside. But at one point, I remember in a Dr. Darling presentation, he says, and the sister once we catch up with her, which made me think he wanted her to be brought to the Bureau. And that's what I was saying about the Threshold kids. But maybe not. Maybe he just meant once we catch up with her, we're going to observe her from a distance. And they never intended for the Faden siblings to be reunited. I just don't know. There's so many questions left. But going back through the lore like this makes me ask all of them, and they're really interesting. So anyway, hope you guys had fun. If you're my mom, I love you. If you're not my mom, I love you anyway. You guys have a good night.